Hi everyone. So this is Kari, and this evening we got together with Consistently Creative Crew and worked on Creative Memories project recipe, Berry Harvest. So this is Kari. I'm with Cheryl and Colleen, and we assembled this layout traditionally. And now I am going to go ahead and do it digitally. And I also have Lynn here who's going to show us how she created a special shape doing it, which I think was really neat and very helpful. So this is what the project recipe looked like, the sample that Creative Memories provided for us. It's a little bit different, and it had a number of features on it that were unusual for us to do traditionally, including the border cut into some pieces on the right-hand side of the page. The border on the left is actually attached to the piece. And then on the right-hand page, this column of horizontal photos, the mat that is behind them is actually a fake. It's only two pieces, two rectangles slid behind the right and left edges of those photos. It is not all the way around the photo, so it's a little bit different. So this is the picture that they have here for the sketch for all of the pieces, and then they have the cutting guide here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. So I'm going to pull this onto my other page so that I can work with it. If you do not have this project recipe and cutting guide, it is available on our Facebook group, Consistently Creative Croppers. So feel free to go ahead and grab it. If you cannot find it or don't have access to Facebook, you can always leave a comment on our YouTube video and we can send it to you via email. So this is one of the project recipes for this month. Actually, it was for last month, but I thought it was really cute. So I'm going to pull that off onto my other screen. So I normally take a look at the layout and see if it's symmetrical or not, and if I can mirror image it, and it's not symmetrical at all. So I am just going to start assembling shapes. So I have a couple of shapes that I need to insert here. So the first one is, of course, a rectangle. And this one is going to be 12 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall. And I am going to start out with basically the same colors that they did on their 3-color sketch. I'm going to just put this one up here for right now. And I'm going to make a second one, and that's also going to be 12 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall. And this one I'm going to make blue. And part of the reason I kind of keep to the same colors is just so that we can kind of see how they look when we're working our way through it. This one, actually, I want the Y on it to be at 6. They ended up leaving a 1/2 inch gap between the bottom edge of that and the edge of the paper, the base paper, and it ends up being the same at the top. So the Y on the top piece is at 1/2 inch. So that's the basic part of this layout. So now I need to add another rectangle. This one is going to be 12 inches wide by 1/2 inch. And eventually we are going to punch or cut out a shape out of this top border. And we will end up having to realign that. So this is what I'm kind of looking at. So I've got this patterned piece. Actually, it might be easier. I've got the blue piece, I've got the green piece, I've got this other blue strip that's going across here. Now I'm going to make my photo mats and all of my photos. So my first photo mat, they made all of these kind of a peachy color, so I'm just going with that. These were 6x4, and I need 2 of them, but I'm going to go ahead and put in the photo mat at the same time, and this is 5 3/4 and 3 3/4. I'm just going to go ahead and align them using the quick access toolbar, the second one and the 5th one. And I will just make it easy for myself, I will group them and then I will copy and paste because I just need a second set and I'm just going to put them there. Now I need one more set, but it's going to end up being a vertical set. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it, ungroup it, and I'm just going to change my numbers. So it's going to be 3.75 by 5.75, and the mat's going to be 4 by 6. And now I've got that one. And then the only other thing that I need for this page is another strip, and this one is 4 by 1.5. I'm going to click create. And I think that is pretty much everything that I need for this page. I'm just going to kind of collect all of my photo mats, kind of get them. I'm not going to bother to group them for the moment because I'm going to end up moving things around. I'm going to save this and go to the next page, but you can kind of see mine looks a lot like this one at this point. I don't have N. I have not cut a punch here because that kind of depends on what your layout's going to look like and what your theme is going to be. So now I'm going to start all over again. So I need another rectangular shape. I'm going to go back to the blue. And this is going to be 5.5 inches by 12. And if I go up to the quick access toolbar and change the X to 0 and the Y to 0, I actually don't have to drag that piece around. Now I have my photo mats, and I'm going to do those rectangles in a bit. So I'm just going to get this one photo mat in. It is 5 by 3.5. And this was that orange peachy color. And I will go ahead and grab the photo. And this one is 4.75 by 3.25. Except if I could type it right, it would help. All right. And I'm going to use the quick access toolbar again to align them with the second and the fifth. Now they had these little rectangles behind this, so I'm going to go ahead and get that set up now. These their sketch was green. So this is 1.5 by 3.75, and there were 2 of them. So I go to home, I go to copy, and I go to paste. So what I want is for these to be behind it, but I really wanted to see what I was doing. So I'm going to select both shapes. I'm going to drag it behind, and it's actually pretty well lined up. And you can play with the alignment and get it perfect. I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. I think it's in pretty good shape, but I can align the center points. Those are pretty good. I'm going to group them. And then I'm going to copy and paste and get 3 of them. So I don't actually have to recreate those again, which will help me out. And I'd really like them aligned on this center shape, and I'd like them all centered on it. So I'm going to select those 3 first, the base shape last, and now they're aligned there. And now by deselecting the background, what I really want to do is I want to distribute them vertically so that way the spacing between them all is the same. So I click that. If I group them up together and then try to center it again, I can kind of make certain that I'm still in good shape. I think they're going to be a little bit too far apart because if I put my print guides on, you can see I'm really a little too tight there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup them. I'm going to move this middle one up a little bit. So that way the spacing between the three isn't quite so far apart. Now I'm going to distribute them vertically again, and you can see how it moved up that bottom one. I'm going to regroup them, and then I'm going to align them on the base, and I think we should be in better shape. So now I can ungroup them, and I want to ungroup one more time and get them all to be the individual elements. And that is that piece. And I think we're nearing the home stretch here. So then I have a narrow strip that I need to put in, a narrow vertical strip here. This was 0.5 by 12. And this was blue. And I'm just giving it a different color than the other blue so you can tell the difference. And then I have 2 photos and 3 punch strips. So I'm going to put in the 3 strips that are going to ultimately be punched. And these are 6 inches wide by 1.5 inches tall. And I'm going to end up having one at the top. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to have one at the bottom. And I'm going to have one in the middle. And then I have 2 more photos. So even though this had a lot more to it than a lot of our normal layouts, it was not too awful because we could actually do a lot of copying and repeating. So this is this one. And I'm going to paste it. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to copy the photo. Copy, paste. And I think something, oh, there we go. Just need to move that up. And that is that. And I think that's everything. So let me slide the project recipe back down here so you can kind of see I've got the 3 photos and a strip and then these other 3. So now what CM did is they had these being punched, and so you need to decide what kind of punch you're going to use, or maybe you're going to use a border strip, whatever you'd like to do. So on the layout that I ended up working on, I ended up making a set of trees. So I'm going to show it back on this page, and then so I'm going to use the cutters straight edge shaped edge. And I am doing a winter layout, and so I went to my categories because I have some winter things all set together. I've got seasons, I've got winter, and I wasn't sure if I didn't know if I really wanted to do snowflakes, but I had a couple of different sets of trees. I have got this one, which is from a Shape Magic kit, and this set, which is from another Shape Magic kit. I kind of like this one. It wasn't really symmetrical. It was a little bit different. So that's the one that I wanted to pick. And just like when you're normally cutting, you have a lot of options that you can use. You can, make it bigger. You can adjust the spacing. You can put them all right next to each other. You could flip it if you wanted to. I kind of like the original aspect ratio. So I'm gonna just tighten this up a little bit. I want it really close to that edge because I don't want to strip there at the top. Now this is one of those times where if you're really not sure what you're gonna cut and what you're gonna keep and all of that, it's sometimes better to just keep both areas. If you know exactly which part you're gonna cut, that's fine, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep both areas, and I'm going to select cut. And then I'm going to show you what I'm left with. So you can still see in my elements panel, I've got 2 different shapes here. If I hide the one, you can see that what I'm left with is this tree shape up there. And if I hide the other one, you can see that I've got the negative of that. So the one that I really want is this one. And now that I've got that there, if I look at that border strip, I know that all my photos are a little bit too high up, so I'm going to have to move those down. So I've just selected them all, moved them down. And I can go through and I can either copy and paste this onto the other page, or I can go over to the other page and select those little pieces that I want to trim. And when I go to straight edge and do that shape, it remembers exactly what I was doing. So I can end up with the things being the exact same size. So I can actually do the same thing, keep both areas, and look at the ones that I have, and that's the same thing. And here I would probably just copy and paste it. So I've got that, and I am going to pause the recording. We're going to turn it over to Lynn and let her show you what she did with her cutting over shape.
So I have these pictures of ornaments that I wanted to do with this layout, but I didn't have any shapes of ornaments, but I had embellishments of ornaments. So what I did, let me go to a single page view here, um, is I took some ornaments out of, what do I have? I had some ornaments. So I took some ornaments and I laid them on my page and I made them all the same height. And then I grouped them together as a group. Um, and then I did a insert outliner on them. And I ended up with this. Actually, I don't think I grouped them. I think I had to do the opposite. I had to just do them as individuals. I don't remember now. Because I ended up with this shape. But anyway, when all was said and done, let me get rid of these and let me hide these. And I took the outliner off or the stroke off and I ended up with this, and it looks like this with the individual shapes. And then I was able to take this shape and save as a shape in my personal shapes kit, and I called it ornaments. And I'm not going to do it again because I have it here, right here is my shapes, my ornament shapes. So then I went to my piece of paper and I used that shape to cut the ornaments out of the top, just like Kari just showed you with the shaped edge. And you can adjust the size of it and adjust the spacing between it, so that my group of four was considered one individual shape, but I could make them so that they looked like they were just continuous by adjusting the spacing. Once I did that, I had my shape up here cut out. Now, because my other page was had vertical openings, I couldn't use this orientation. So what I did was I made a copy of this and then cut out 4 individual ornaments and put them vertically to make my design on the second page. So I had the 4 ornaments this way and then just duplicated it. Then also down in the lower left where there were some individual pieces cut from the project recipe, I made the 4 ornaments again. Well, I just used 3 in this case and filled them with paper, different papers, so that they weren't all filled the same. And that's how I did it.
And I love how you utilized making another shape when you didn't have a shape that was going to work for you. So you created it within the tools of Artisan using some of the images that you had in this kit that you started out with. I think that was great. Thank you so much for sharing. So you have a shadow on there too, don't you? It looks like.
I do have a shadow on there so that it wasn't
Nice.
so flat looking.
Got it.
I have a shadow
Nice.
on these also.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Well,
All right, so here is my layout. I'm not quite done. I didn't have enough time to do both the traditional and the digital and get it all done this evening, but I'm fairly close. So you can see that I used that tree punch or tree shape, cut it out. I was using another kit. I don't have it quite done, but the one thing that I thought was really great was that somebody happened to capture this picture of one of our dogs, and it looks like she was actually going to bite the other dog's tail. That's actually not what she was doing. She was actually going after the snow that was falling at the time, but the way this picture is caught, it looks like our one dog is running from the other one and she's about ready to bite the tail. But we thought that was a hilarious picture that we got when our two dogs were puppies and this happened to be their first snowfall. And we started out with a little bit of snow and then ended up with quite a bit of snow. So, but you can see how it all kind of came together here. And this again was the project recipe by Creative Memories, Berry Harvest. If you do end up creating something from it, we'd love to see what you created, and you can always share it on our Facebook group, Consistently Creative Croppers. There's an album there for it. And thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment if you see this on YouTube or on Facebook, because we'd love to hear what you have, what your thoughts are. Thanks so much, everyone.